Welcome back to G Fun Facts Online. Today we are diving into a subject that sits right at the intersection of biology, mathematics, and the future of reality itself. We are talking about the erosion of the concept that seeing is believing. For over a century, the photograph and the audio recording were the absolute bedrock of evidentiary truth. If you had a picture, you had proof. But today, that certainty has completely evaporated. We have entered an era where reality is treated as a malleable dataset. A video of a world leader surrendering a war, a voice recording of a CEO authorizing a fraudulent transfer, or a satellite image of a non-existent military buildup can now be synthesized with a few clicks and a high-end GPU. This epistemological crisis has given birth to a new, critical discipline that we are going to break down today called algorithmic forensics. Algorithmic forensics is not merely spotting fakes or looking for glitches. It is the rigorous, mathematical, and physiological interrogation of digital media. It is the science of distinguishing the chaotic, organic imperfection of reality from the statistical smoothness of a machine. It combines computer vision, signal processing, cryptography, and even cardiology to answer a single question: is this real? So let's peel back the layers, starting with the most sophisticated method for detecting deepfakes. Interestingly, it does not look at the pixels as digital data, but as biological evidence. This is the biological layer, or what forensics experts call wetware forensics. The core premise here is that generative adversarial networks, or GANs, and diffusion models are brilliant at mimicking surface textures. They can do skin, hair, and lighting perfectly, but they are terrible at understanding human physiology. They paint a portrait, but they forget the life underneath. The most fascinating example of this is a technique involving your heart. When your heart beats, it pumps blood into your face, causing your veins to expand slightly and your skin color to change. Now, these changes are invisible to the naked human eye, but they are glaringly obvious to a computer sensor. This phenomenon is the basis of remote photoplethysmography, or RPPG. Algorithms like FakeCatcher work by extracting these biological signals from facial video. They map the face into regions of interest, like the forehead, cheeks, and chin, and they analyze subtle chromatic shifts in the green channel of the RGB spectrum. Why the green channel? Because it correlates most strongly with hemoglobin absorption. A real human face exhibits a coherent pulse signal across all these regions. If your forehead flushes at a specific millisecond, your cheek should flush milliseconds later in a predictable hemodynamic wave. Deepfake models, however, generate frames independently or with a type of temporal smoothing that ignores hemodynamics. Consequently, a deepfake person is often biologically dead. They have no pulse, or their pulse is spatially incoherent, meaning the forehead beats at a completely different rhythm than the chin. Beyond the heart, we look at the eyes. Blinking is not a random shutter mechanism. It is a complex physiological process regulated by the brain's dopamine levels and cognitive load. Early deepfakes often failed to blink entirely because the training datasets contained mostly open-eyed photos of celebrities. While that has improved, modern detection tools like deep vision still track the aspect ratio of the eye over time. Humans blink spontaneously every 2 to 10 seconds, with a closing phase of roughly 100 milliseconds. Deepfakes often exhibit rapid blinking artifacts or frozen states where the eyes remain open for unnaturally long periods, sometimes 30 seconds or more. Furthermore, in a real video call between two people, their gaze vectors align. When you look at the screen, your eyes converge on a specific focal point. Recent research shows that real-time deepfakes, the kind used in Zoom bombing or live phishing, often fail to maintain a consistent vergence point. Their eyes may drift independently or fail to lock onto the camera lens when the subject is supposedly addressing the viewer. Finally, in the biological layer, we look at muscular dynamics and head pose. A human face is a 3D object wrapped in a complex web of muscles. When a real person turns their head, the geometry of their facial landmarks, like the nose tip and eye corners, shifts in a mathematically consistent way. Forensics tools estimate the orientation of the head based on the face's center features and compare it to the orientation of the face's outer contour. In many face-swapping deepfakes, the central face acts like a mask pasted onto a source head. When the source head turns, that 2D mask often fails to warp perfectly in 3D space, creating a slipping effect where the face appears to slide across the skull. Now, let's move from the biological layer to the digital signal layer, or software forensics. If the biological layer looks for the absence of life, the digital signal layer looks for the presence of the machine. Every algorithm leaves a fingerprint, a mathematical scar left by the specific way it processes data. Just as a gun leaves unique striations on a bullet, a generative model leaves a unique noise pattern on an image. In traditional camera forensics, every physical camera sensor has a unique pattern of pixel sensitivity called photoresponse non-uniformity. AI generators lack this physical sensor noise. Instead, they have upsampling artifacts. One common sign is checkerboard artifacts. To create a high-resolution image from random noise, GANs use transposed convolution layers. If these are not perfectly tuned, they leave a microscopic grid pattern, literally a checkerboard, hidden in the pixel data. Forensic filters, like high-pass filters, can reveal this grid, exposing the image as synthetic. For modern diffusion models like Midjourney or DALL-E, researchers use a technique called diffusion snapback. They take a suspected image, add a small amount of noise, and feed it back into the diffusion model. If the image was generated by that specific model, the model can reconstruct it with eerily high accuracy because the image lies perfectly within the model's latent space. A real photograph, being chaotic and outside that latent space, will not reconstruct as cleanly. We also analyze the frequency domain using the Fourier transform. Sometimes, a deepfake looks perfect in pixel space, but terrible in frequency space. By applying a fast Fourier transform, analysts convert an image into a frequency map. Real photos generally have a smooth distribution of low and high frequencies. Deepfakes often exhibit a spectral collapse or anomalous spikes in high frequencies. This happens because generative models struggle to reproduce the complex, high-frequency noise of real-world textures, like the grain of asphalt or the pores of skin, resulting in a frequency plot that looks too clean or artificially spiked. Perhaps the most fascinating tool in the digital layer is audio forensics and the ENF signal. Synthetic audio is one of the most dangerous vectors for disinformation, but real audio recordings contain a hidden timestamp called the electrical network frequency, or ENF. In any recording made near power lines or electrical equipment, which is almost everywhere, the background hum of the electricity grid, usually 50 or 60 Hz, is captured. This frequency fluctuates slightly over time, creating a unique grid signature for every second of the day. Forensic analysts can extract the ENF signal from a questioned recording and compare it to the historical log of the power grid's frequency deviations. If a leaked tape claims to be from Tuesday at 9 in the morning, but the ENF signal matches Wednesday at 4 in the afternoon, or is missing entirely due to AI synthesis, the audio is exposed as a fabrication. However, detection is a cat-and-mouse game. The ultimate defense is not detecting the fake, but proving the real. This brings us to part 3, the cryptographic layer. This is where we see the Coalition for Content, Provenance, and Authenticity, or C2PA. This is an open technical standard that allows publishers to embed tamper-evident metadata into files. When a camera captures a C2PA-compliant photo, it creates a manifest. This manifest contains assertions such as captured by Nikon Z9, the specific location, and the date. Crucially, the manifest is cryptographically bound to the pixel data using a hash function like SHA-256. If a bad actor changes even a single pixel of the image, for example adding a tank where there was none, the hash of the image changes. This breaks the link to the manifest, and the content credential seal will show as invalid or tampered in verification tools. This creates a supply chain for truth, allowing a news organization to sign their edit, cryptographically proving that while they may have color-corrected the image, the content remains authentic to the camera original. Alongside this, companies are implementing invisible watermarking. Like Synth ID, there are two types here, fragile and robust. Fragile watermarks break easily if the image is edited, which is useful for proving integrity. Robust watermarks, however, persist even if the image is cropped, resized, screenshot, or compressed. These are injected into the frequency domain of the image, often using wavelet transforms, so that the signal survives despite visual paraphrasing attacks. Let's look at how this theory plays out in the real world with some case studies from the front lines. In March 2022, a video circulated appearing to show Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky surrendering to Russia. Hani Farid and other experts immediately noted the head-body mismatch. The resolution of the face was different from the neck, suggesting a 2D face swap. The lighting on the face didn't match the studio lighting of the background. And physiologically, the body was motionless, a common artifact of early deepfake models that only animate the face. The debunking was swift, serving as a textbook example of a cheap fake, which has low technical sophistication but high potential impact. In 2023, we saw the Wolf News case. Graphica revealed a pro-China influence operation using AI news anchors named Alex and Anna for a fictitious outlet called Wolf News. Instead of analyzing pixel artifacts, investigators used reverse image search and asset tracking. They found the exact same avatars were stock characters provided by the British AI company Synthesia. Audio analysis also revealed a lack of natural breath pauses and pitch variation, known as prosody, typical of human speech. The voices were perfectly rhythmic, a hallmark of text-to-speech engines. Then, there was the LinkedIn GAN botnet. Researchers discovered a network of over 1,000 fake LinkedIn profiles used for corporate espionage. Since GANs like style GAN 2 are trained to generate faces with the eyes in the exact same pixel coordinates for stability, researchers found that, by overlaying the profile pictures, the eyes of hundreds of different people aligned perfectly. This is a statistical impossibility for real photos. Additionally, while the faces were hyper-realistic, the backgrounds were abstract, dreamlike blurs, because GANs often fail to render coherent background structures like bookshelves. So what does the future hold? As detectors improve, generators are fighting back with adversarial attacks. Attackers are now using the fast gradient sign method to cloak deepfakes. By adding a specifically calculated layer of invisible noise to a deepfake, they can confuse forensic classifiers, making a fake video return a 99% real score. But perhaps the biggest threat is the liar's dividend. The danger is not just that we believe the fakes, but that we stop believing the real. As deepfakes become common, real criminals are already using the deepfake defense to dismiss authentic evidence of their wrongdoing, as seen in high-profile court cases. Algorithmic forensics is the new immune system of the internet. It is a complex, multi-layered discipline that requires us to look closer at the pulse in a cheek, the noise in a pixel, and the hash in a header. While technology creates the illusion, it also provides the tools to shatter it. In the age of AI, truth is no longer what we see. It is what we can prove. Thanks for listening to Fun Facts Online.